Welcome to ASK Yearbooks. I'm going to give you a quick overview of our yearbook design software. So when you go to a product, say we're going to go for a hardback yearbook, so if I go to the hardback yearbook category and go to the portrait yearbooks, there's always more than one option of yearbook. There's always a generic blank yearbook, so this would just be the portrait hardback yearbook, and then we've got our themed layouts where we've done some of the design work for you as a starting point that you can override and edit and create your own accordingly. So if I look at first of all a blank one, because that probably gives us the best overview of how to use all the fantastic features of our software. So if I go to the product, I don't have to get too hung up on the quantity now, but if you see me change my price there, it works into our price breaks from our price list. It doesn't matter about, and this is calculated on 40 to 48 pages, this particular product. You can add and reduce pages within a book as you require, and it works it back to our transparent pricing structure on our website, or to any quote that we've given you. And because we'll purchase order charge you, you don't need to worry about getting it right at this stage. We can work that out when you come to place your order and send it to print. If I start my design on a blank yearbook, it'll load our desktop publishing software into the back end of your browser, so it will load our app in the back end of the browser. It can be slightly slow to launch for the first time because it's loading the software for the first time, and then it will cache into your browser. But I'm running this demonstration on a 4G connection off a mobile phone connection, so I'm not running off some super fast internet, and so it can be run off a 3G or 4G connection or a normal broadband internet speed. So we have a blank product. We have a blank product with, if I drag down at the bottom, with 48 pages and no themes inserted. So if I take you through the tabs on the site and what we can do with it, the left tab at the top is where the photos are. So we have no photos in any photo album. So as we're going to be doing some work here, the first thing we want to do is perhaps upload some photos. So I'm just going to upload a couple of kids' photos. Now you can upload PDFs, you can upload JPEGs and PNG files. Now PNG files and PDFs can contain transparency if you're used to working with Photoshop or other photo packages, and JPEGs do not contain transparency if you ever want to work with that. So I'm just going to drag. All you need to do is drag your photos. It'll ask you to choose an album, so I'm just going to create a new album and call it, Class 1A photos. Those start, and it's going to upload those photos to the photo gallery, then they're there at all times. So one of the first things we do, and this is quite important because the software auto saves everything you do once you've saved a product, but as we haven't yet saved a product, what we're going to do, if you're not logged in, it'll ask you to at this stage, but the first thing I'm going to do is save my yearbook. Once I've saved it, it'll save it to a design project on our site. So here we go, it's saved the project. So you can give the project a name. So I'm going to edit product name, I'm going to go demonstration yearbook on my account. And this is a normal user account. This is not a company admin account. This is a normal standard user account that I've set up. So I'm going to update my my product name. So once we've saved our yearbook, if we continue designing it, it auto saves as we go along. So we never ever have to save again. Okay, it's just the first stage is once you've done something, save it early on, and then it'll be saved and backed up forever. So you can see within our account we've got three kids' photos so far, but we've got no layouts, no themes. So if I start on, say, page 1, it's a very good place to start. So we've got the second tab in are the layouts. Okay. Now within our themes, we've got themes. This is our triple theme. there will ultimately be hundreds and hundreds of themes and hundreds of pages on here. Today I'm just looking at the triple theme as options for you to build, or you can build your own theme. What I like about software is you can build your own theme, as we'll work through later. So if you hold your mouse over the layouts, it will tell you the names. But they're pretty obvious. You can see them. You can, if you drag this window to the right, you can see more of these layout themes, and we can scroll down to see this theme has lots of things in it, from an index page, should you want to use an index page, to a teacher, and this theme's got left and right spreads, as you'll notice. And the only difference are left and right spreads. The margins are slightly different on left to right, and this header is left and right headed. Different themes will be set up in different ways. If we go to another page and you wanted to see, let's say, 16 photos per page, 16 photos per page come in. Now, within the themes that we've got, you can edit and create and make your own of those. So this takes me to the next stage, which are backgrounds. Now, if you click on this third, this sort of checkered flag it's all the backgrounds. So we've got lots and lots of colours, and if you want to see, say, have some help here, if you go to the Help Info menu, we've got things like, if you want to download our colour guide, as an example, so you can see as a PDF and have that stored on your computer or viewed in a different browser tab. And when it says this, you're not actually leaving the editor because it's loading it into a different page when you're on these help pages. It's loading into the tab here, our colour guide from the internet. It's loading as a PDF file, so you would be able to save that if you wanted to. As I say, I'm on a normal 3G connection, so it's taking a while to load that, but while that's loading, I'm going to go back to this. So these are all the colours in here, and our colour guide PDF, it shows you how some colours can work together, what they're called in our colour themes, what the CMYK values are if you're used to working with cyan, magenta, yellow and black, which is what printers use and what printing presses use. Their percentage is 0 to 100 of cyan, magenta, yellow and black to make up 4 colours, called the 4-colour process. You've got RGB for the red, green and blue, which is what computer screens use and televisions use. And then you've got a hash number, which Photoshop and InDesign and other packages will use, and the web can use those packages as well. So we've set out as our backgrounds the colours that we know print well on printing presses, and we've set out 24 of them, and we've shown you some colours, just are examples of how well they combine. So if you look here in our solid colours backgrounds, they're the colours we've got. So you could take our design theme, like we've got on this page, for instance, decide you prefer the purple background, or you prefer a bright pink background for the ASK Pink branding. You might want to remove, obviously this theme looks like it's got a white box there, so if I delete that white box, which you use the delete button on your computer, if you are using a Mac laptop which doesn't have a delete button, its function backspace is the same as delete. I'm sure all Mac users know that, but some any that don't, or you're new to a Mac, the function, the FN key, which is on the left side, bottom left of your keyboard, and the backspace key, which is just below the power on button above the return key, is the same as the delete key on your Windows keyboard. So if I delete that white box there, and perhaps delete the burgundy box there, I've got my own theme here. I'm going to remove that header. We don't want a header on this theme. So I don't want a page number at the bottom, but I'm going to leave the white bar. Now, what I quite like this theme, and I want to use this theme on different pages, thinking this is my branded school theme. I've used part of one of ASK's layouts, but I want to use this page lots more. Then what you can do is go to layout, and you can create your own. So if you go add edit layout, we can decide whether we want to use the whole spread as a layout. We should bring in a whole spread, or just the left spread, or just the right spread. So I'm going to go the right spread because we've worked on the right page here. I'm going to go OK, and it's going to save that layout, which means that I can go to page 19, go to my layout themes, and it shows you the page. So we could use that on page 19, page 17, page 16, and we've got our own theme. So you've just built your own theme up for your book, which is great. The other things we've got with backgrounds, you've seen the solid colours. Let's have a look at the background graphics. We've got 198 at the moment background graphics of professional design themes. So you might like a leather theme, you might like a traditional blue leather theme, or you might want to be a bit funky and go for a sort of Chesterfield sofa leather theme. And if you want to see them, if you want to see all the background images you can use rather than scroll through here, again, go to the help menu and download the backgrounds. That document is a 20 megabyte file, it's PDF, so it'll take a while to download, but it contains every single background on our system, so you can look at them and say, oh, I like that background, I'll use this one. You can also obviously download the color theme, and you can download our theme layouts as well, and our font list if you want to see our font list. So we've got a leather category, we've got a marble category, so you might want a sort of grey marble, or we've got a other school ones that are popular are chalkboards. If you go for a chalkboard theme, you've got a green and a black and white chalkboard, and another very popular one, probably the most popular one we have within wooden, is the corkboard background. Okay, so there we go. So we've got some refreshing. We've got photos. We've then got, and I'm going to now upload. Now with saving, so I'm now going to upload some more children's photos to my gallery. And while they're uploading, we can do some other things. So we can work. So they're all loading reasonably quickly. The speed of that is down to your internet connection. The speed of our system can only work because it's working by FTP as quickly as you can work on via the internet. So while we're uploading, we can get on and do some other work, which we're doing now. So we've seen the themes, and the last button on the right is a chess piece, and that's our clip art library. We've got thousands and thousands and thousands of clip art images, and some of them will be the same as the backgrounds because you might not want to use something fully on a background, or you might want to pop a background on a background. So if I go to my cork boards that we've created here, and I drop in, I could drop in the onto the cork a chalkboard. Onto that cork chalkboard, I could drop in a. Let's look at some frames. So if I look in frames, I might find, and everything's named. If you hang over the, if you leave your mouse over the image, it tells you what it is. Perhaps a Polaroid. So. And a transparent Polaroid at that, so you can put a photo behind it. So we might want a Polaroid image. We might want to, within that, have some sticky tape to show that it's been stuck onto a chalkboard. So I'm going to put some sticky tape on. And the sticky tape's sort of translucent in this graphic, so it's got some opacity in it. So it just looks now like we've got a chalkboard. Now if you wanted that as a theme for your book, you might want to go add an image box for a photo. You might want to put that photo behind, so you can drag that photo behind the Polaroid. So if I put the photo into position thus, I can nudge it across either with the arrow key and then I can, one of the children's photos, I could pop in it. Okay. Now if I double click on the image or the image box, it will give us some features. Now what I want to do is layer it, move it forward and backwards like you can in normal desktop publishing packages like Publisher and InDesign. So we've got center back, bring to front, move forward or move backwards. I'm just going to move this backwards one so it's behind the Polaroid, which is a transparent PNG graphic, so that the image will show behind Polaroid. Okay, so I've got the image behind the Polaroid. Now you might want this, I say that's quite funky, I want to do this a number of pages. I might want to add a text box. So we've got the image there. The text has come in with the default text for our system. So that's, again, useful for us, but not so much useful to use. So you might want to put your text in there. So if I call it Adrian, we might want to use one of our fonts. And for instance, we're on a chalkboard, so why don't we use one of the funky fonts we've got, such as Hand Chalk. We're on a chalkboard, we might as well put some chalk, a chalk font. And we're going to increase its size a little bit. Now, other text options we've got within the fonts, which is the same as a top-end desktop publishing package. You've got when you click on click on a text, if I click away, if I now click on that text, you've got the standard text formatting options which you'll be familiar with: left justified, center justified, right justified, bold and underline, if they're available within that font. Now these aren't, so they're grayed out. Underline is. Text color is the one to the right. So if we want to change the text color, you might want to put it into a purple. And if you're not sure of CMYK values, you could look at the color guide that we have created and say, yes, purple, they use 50, 100, 15, 10 CMYK. So go back, so 50, 100, 15, 10. So I'm going to create that, and it comes out in purple on the black, which actually works quite well. But what you will notice is it has automatically created that as a swatch for you to use within the rest of your book. So if you click on the color key again, it's there as a swatch, and it also, if you hang the mouse over it, it tells you the CMYK value. You can switch to RGB if you're used to using RGB. I strongly advise using CMYK because printing presses and the printing industry use CMYK. Our printing presses use it, and the system is converted. Anything you create in RGB, like images in Photoshop, will be automatically converted by. And this is the same with any printer in the world, because that's the way printing presses work, to CMYK. So if I go OK to that, we've got advanced text options. Now the advanced text options, which is the second button in, show you things like character spacing, which is called kerning, can be called kerning in some typesetting packages, the old-fashioned way of calling it. So if I want to, and it's character spacing, it's the space between the characters within a font. So if I change that to 2 point, you can see it moving out. If I make that say 10 point, it makes it very obvious that it becomes very wide. So you've got full kerning or character spacing functionality within our font usage software, which is very rare for online. And then you've got paragraph spacing, which is the same as leading. It's automatically set at 130%. So if I call this chap Adrian Smith, block that, you'll notice from the advanced text it's at, if I move it on 40%, If I move it to 200%. So I move it to 200%, the leading has increased. You can, sorry, that is paragraph spacing I've done there. I'll leave that. So that's space after paragraphs. So when you put a hard return in, that's the space after. Which I don't need to be 200%, I just need it to be 20%. Its leading is of course line height, so if I move that, which is standard as 130% as standard, so that would be 10-point text would come out at 13-point leading, which is a nice average spacing that the print industry would use anyway. But if you wanted to make that, accentuate that a little bit and make that 200%, you'll see that the formatting has come out. Now, if you want, next time we set up a text box, to set it up like this. If you ever want that, so we're putting that text box in lots and lots of times in our document. If we go this to the bottom right tab of the text box, save as default formatting. If we do that, next time we bring in a new text box to the system, it will use that formatting for that text. Okay, not a lot of use at 200% leading and everything like that, but it just shows you what you can do and the functionality we have. And again, if you wanted to create that as your own template for use within your document, we're going to go left spread this time, and we've now got this as a template to use within our document. So if we then go to say spread 30 or 31 and we drag in we can use that again and again and again and again. So it makes it very, very quickly to create a yearbook. Okay, so that gives you an overview. If you want to move out of it, just go save yearbook. But it was, all the data was saving as we were going along anyway. And if you go back to our main menu of our site, My Yearbook Designs is where you will find your saved product. So if I go to My Yearbook Designs, find the demonstration yearbook I created earlier, I continue designing it, it'll relaunch the browser, relaunch the software into the browser much faster than the first time it loaded, and once it's loaded, ping, we have all our layouts. Let's see. Now we can view those in two ways. You can view the preview on screen in a preview button, or you can do a PDF preview. So you can actually download where you've got to by clicking PDF preview, and it creates a PDF and you can download it to your computer at any time. So you can check it offline. You don't need to be online to check it. You might want to share it with your friends and colleagues or the other members of your yearbook committee, just to say where we're at, how we're doing it, what it's looking like, do you like my theme, etc, etc, etc. Okay, so a quick overview. We have photos in the left gallery. So if I go to one of the, we have layouts in the second tab in, backgrounds in the third tab in, clip art in the fourth tab in. So if I go back to one of our layout pages, to move photos into one of our layout pages, there are lots of text boxes there. You just drag the photos into the boxes. Okay, so I'm just dragging lots of photos in accordingly. If I want to see where I'm at, I can go to the side of the pasteboard, hold down the mouse key, I can move the window, I can use the mouse key to expand the window, I can go to any box and find out my measurement for that box. So that is, at the moment it's 18 millimeters from the edge, it's 38 millimeters down. If I change that to 40 millimeters down, you will see it move. It's moved down slightly, so I'll move back to 38. So you can do exact control of photos and any box, whether it's a photo box, a text box, a clip art box, as you would in a professional desktop publishing package. You've got functionality within your image box, the same as you've got on text boxes. So on the images, you can have opacity, which is transparency. So if I show you an example of that, if I move this image, then, because it was the first image in the package, to the front, okay. Now this image, like box, has a border to it, as you can see in this, basically in this theme. So we could change that border, for instance, border and background options. So it's got a width on that border, as you can see. So if we make the border thicker, we might want to change its colour. So you could change it to, say, the purple swatch. So we've got the purple thing. Or you could remove the border if you don't want a border on there. Within the functions there, we've got opacity. So if I'm going to move my opacity down, it adds transparency. So the image below will start to show through, or the background below will start to show through. There was some opacity on the clip art that had the sticky tape. So the sticky tape gives the effect that you can see, that's like some sellotape, that you can see the image and photo underneath. So that's an example of how you can use opacity as a graphic designer. So we've got monotone if you want to go black and white. You've got other funky features. You can make a sepia effect if you want to go into the 1930s, and if you want to go into the 1960s, you can go into invert image. So many options on that. We've also got, so I'm going to take that one away. I'm going to work on the next image. I'm going to show, we've worked on the border and background options. So I'm going to work on the image options, so we could, for instance, put a halftone circle, which doesn't really work very well on a box that has a border. To be honest with you, so I'm going to go to this image. I'm going to go back to our effects. I'm going to move it back to have no effects, and I'm going to remove the opacity, and I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to then show my gradients, and that shows some of the gradient options that we have within the system. We can put on our images, we can also add drop shadows. We can scale our images. So again, I'm going to remove the mask. These are called masks. I'm going to remove the mask by just clicking the X button. It removes any masks you've got on there. And I'm going to scale the image. If I want to move an image so I can position it differently, if I click on the button, click on the box, so you can see once you click on a box, you've got 8 little bars come up and a 9th at the top. If you then hold down the Shift key, you can then move the image. So click away, so we click on the box to make it active, hold the Shift key down, then you can drag it with your mouse to position it where you want this chap. Rotation is really simple. So whenever you click on a picture box, a top bar comes up, which you can grab and drag and swivel and rotate to your heart's content. Okay. So they are the options within the box. You've got your exact measurements. We've got scaling. We've got image positioning. If you want to put images at the top aligned. So you've got alignment. Just have you like you do have the text. We've got alignment options on images, but you can then scale images if you want to. Hold while it's click away from that box. Click it quickly. Have it hold the shift key down, and once you click it quickly and hold the shift key down, when you drag the mouse over it, this little icon appears on the left hand side as bottom right hand corner of the box, and that allows you to swap images. So if I wanted to swap this person and that girl, this boy and that girl, if I click that icon there and then drag to there, it swaps those two images around. Okay, so if you've got your images wrong, rather than go back to here and find them, you can swap them that way. So if I drag him to there, it swaps those two around. And we'd already put a mask into that box. And that box had a purple background. Okay, so that's how you can work with images within our system. So we've worked with text, we've worked with images, we've worked with layouts, we've created our own layouts, we've worked with backgrounds, and we've worked with clip art. Clip art, there's lots and lots of clip art, hundreds and hundreds of clip art images. If you like emojis, we have standard emojis, or you can do, other people might like emoji cupcakes. So we've got some emoji cupcakes. So we haven't just got standard emojis like you see on phones, and we've got all sorts of emojis. We've got Scrabble tiles. So if you want to create an image from Scrabble tiles, or a message from Scrabble tiles, you can. And we've got backgrounds. So if we go to, say, chalkboards for backgrounds. So we worked on photos, layouts, backgrounds, clip art. We've worked on add an image box. You can either add an image box, or you could drag an image to a position on the box where there isn't an image already. So if I drag it over an image over that image box, it'll drop it into it. If I drag an image over an area where there isn't already an image box, it will just drop in a new image box. And it tells you how often this image is being used within our document. So if you're creating schools, think, I've got that chap in twice, you know you've got that chap in twice. Within the images, we've got functionality from masks to backgrounds and borders to drop shadows to effects on the photographs to control of our image box position. We've got same with text boxes. When we add text, we're now adding text, and it's setting our formatting. We've decided actually that text in future, so we've set up we want to now work on some different types of text. We might want to use a more traditional things. We might like to say use hand fountain pen font. So point size in this font we're going to pop in. We've got our measurements fonts, so this font we might want to pop into a different colour. We might be working in black and white, so we might go 0, 0, 0, 100 to create black. Okay. So we decided, right, in future we're going to be using this, so we set up this as default formatting for our, but before we do, we're going to go to advanced text options, back to line height there, character height 0, that's correct. So back to our text, let's say right is our default font. So next time we add a text box, it'll start adding it in the fountain pen font. There are over 50 fonts. If you want to download the fonts and see what they look like, again, go to the menu and download our font list to see our immense range of fonts. If you wanted to change from A5, because this is we've set this up as A4, you can actually change it and change the covers. So if you want, it's automatically a gloss laminated cover. We want to change to a soft touch laminated cover. If you look at our, hopefully you've received a copy of our sample book. I believe page 9 on it has a softback feel. So you can, so the hardback covers can have the soft touch laminated finish if they require, and the softback covers can have the gloss laminated cover as well. So what we've done in our sample book, we've inserted a softback cover into page 9 of our hardback inners, so you can tell the difference and see how thick our softback covers are look like. So we've got our cover options here and size options here. So if we wanted to move this down to a B5 or an A5 yearbook, we could, and it shows you the difference in price if we do so. Working back to our pricing structure on the current page count you have down here and below, and it would automatically resize it. You wouldn't need to do anything. It will automatically work out the resizing for you. It's unlikely you want to change there, but if you want to order, so if you want to order an A5 yearbook, you call it up the normal portrait book in the from our website, and then you change the size here to A5 and it does it accordingly. Or alternatively, advise us that you've created a book and you don't want it A4, you want it A5, and we will sort it at print stage or output stage. Okay, you could download you can see the preview on screen. Now the other thing to notice is that because we're working on the internet, if images are very, very high res, they can take ages to move around and work in. So this graphics on the screen looks slightly low resolution. They're not, but what our software does, it creates thumbnail images of high-end graphics, and it's how desktop publishing packages work as well. InDesign works this way, unless you're working on preview mode, so that the package runs quicker. So basically we are working here, we're moving around the thumbnail low resolution version, but the high resolution version you uploaded here to your gallery is what it will print in the background. So if we do a PDF preview, it'll look really, really sharp. On screen it looks as if you're not sure if it's going to be sharp and good enough to print. You don't have to worry about that. The front end here, so that things don't take ages to move around the screen, is working in low resolution mode, but obviously the print works in high resolution mode, just the same as an Adobe package would. And I think that is my quick overview all sorted. Good luck with your yearbook. If you have any problems at all, any queries whatsoever, please don't hesitate to contact us, and we will endeavour to help you out as best we can. Thank you.